Hare Krishna. Today we are going to study the verse number 7 of chapter number 5 of Bhagwat Gita as it is. The name of this chapter is Karma Yoga, that is, action in Krishna consciousness. It's a very important chapter as this chapter is going to break all notions about Karma Yoga. Normally people think that doing all kinds of material work to earn money for sense gratification is Karma Yoga, but it is not Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga actually means doing all work only for the pleasure of Krishna. In the previous verse, we learned about the Mayavadi sannyasis and the Vaishnav sannyasis. And the most important thing that we came to know is the path of Mayavadi sannyasis is very difficult because they reject all the worldly things, thinking that Brahma Satya and Jagat Mithya, which means that according to them, the only truth is absolute divine truth. And this material world is false. But our Guru Parampara says that this world is not false, but it is temporary. This world is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So how can it be false? It is not false, but it is not permanent. And secondly, it is not meant for our enjoyment. This entire creation is meant to give all kinds of happiness to Krishna. And the Vaishnav sannyasis offer everything at the lotus feet of Krishna, and neither they deprive themselves from using the material things, nor they wish to enjoy it, knowing that the supreme enjoyer is only Krishna. So in this way, the only intention of a Vaishnav sannyasi is to serve Krishna, and by doing so, he peacefully lives in this material world, and after leaving this temporary material world, he goes to Golok Vrindavan Dham, from where no one ever returns to this material world, but if Krishna sends them specifically with some specific work, then he happily comes to this material world to fulfill the purpose of Krishna. So now we have clearly understood the difference between a Mayavadi sannyasi and a Vaishnav sannyasi. Now in today's shlok, we are going to learn a very important thing, that how can one be dear to everyone and how to not get affected by the reactions of one's own actions. Now let us begin today's verse by reciting the verse number 7. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. Yoga yuktah, engaged in devotional service. Vishuddha Atma, a purified soul. Vijitatma, self-controlled. Jitendriyah, having conquered the senses. Sarvabhuta Atma Bhutatma, compassionate to all living entities. Kurvan api, although engaged in work. Na, never. Lipyate is entangled. Krishna says to Arjun that one who works in devotion, that is Yog Yukta, who is pure soul, Vishuddha Atma, and who controls his mind and senses, Vijit Atma Jitendriya, is very dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Further, Krishna says, though he is always working, but such a man is never entangled. Kurvan napi na lipyate. Though he is always working, kurvan api, such a man is never entangled. Na lipyate. Now let's start reading the Anvay given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Chakravarti Pad says that a person who performs Nishkam Karma Yoga with a purified mind and controlled intelligence, and whose senses are also under his control, such a person is the object of affection for all living entities, and he is unaffected by action, even though engaged in action. Chakravarti Pad says that this verse begins with Yog Yukta, which means that one who offers the fruits of his actions to the Supreme. Further, Chakravarti Pad says that Sri Bhagavan is informing Arjun that even a Jnani engages in his prescribed duty and remains unaffected by the reactions of his action. Such Jnanis are of three types. The first is those with pure intelligence, that is Vishuddha Atma. The second is those with a pure mind, that is Vijit Atma. And the third type is those with controlled senses, that is Jitendriya. These three types of Jnanis are listed in the descending order of their spiritual advancement. Chakravarti Pad says that the householder who is properly engaged in Nishkam Karma Yoga and who does not reject his prescribed duty, which means he who practices Karm Sannyas, is affectionate towards all the living beings and he loves all the living entities like his own self. And this is the meaning of Sarv Bhutatma. To understand it in simple words, it means that a person who does all his duties only for the happiness of Krishna, and he who knows that Krishna resides in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma. He is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Now we will read Srila Prabhupada's purport and have a deeper understanding of this very important verse. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Srila Prabhupada says that one who is on the path of liberation by practicing Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. And the main reason behind this is this, that he is Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious means that he is well aware of Krishna's presence in every living being. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains this point with the example of a tree and stomach. Just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree, and when one pours water on the roots, then the entire tree becomes green and healthy. Similarly, when the stomach gets food, it automatically distributes the energy throughout the body. So the person who has the knowledge that Krishna is the root of all the living entities and Krishna resides in every living entity's heart, and that by serving Krishna he can please everyone, such a person is Krishna conscious, and he never hurts anyone, neither does he get hurt by anyone. This way he is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. This person never differentiates amongst the different living entities and treats everyone with respect and care, be it an ant or an elephant, a rich person or a poor person. And the main reason is this, that he is Krishna conscious. And being in Krishna conscious, he is fully aware of his identity, that he is an eternal servant of Krishna. And Krishna is the supreme proprietor of the entire creation. Srila Prabhupada says that when one works with the thought of serving everyone, be it in professional life or at home, he automatically becomes dear to everyone. If we think deeply about it, then we will realize that it is absolutely true that if a person wishes to serve everyone, then he will be naturally liked by everyone and everyone will be satisfied with him. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in his consciousness. We must always remember that this stage is attained by a person when he has the knowledge of Krishna's presence in every living entity, and along with it, he is fully aware of his own identity, that he is an eternal servant of Krishna. Such a man's consciousness is pure, and pure consciousness means that he doesn't have any desire to enjoy this material world and has only one desire, that is to serve Krishna and Krishna's creation. And because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. Mind is swifter than wind, but it gets controlled only when the consciousness is pure. And when the mind is in perfect control, which means always fixed in Krishna, then there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna. Nor is there any chance of the senses for being engaged anywhere else other than Krishna and all the activities related to Krishna Bhakti. Therefore, his senses are also controlled. And Srila Prabhupada says that a man with controlled senses cannot be offensive or harmful to anyone. So we see that how with a pure consciousness, the restless mind becomes calm and peaceful. And when the mind is in control, then the senses are also in perfect control. And a person whose senses are always engaged in the service of Krishna, then he can never be offensive to anyone. Now a big question arises here. Arjuna killed crores of soldiers in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Why was Arjuna offensive in the battlefield? Was he not Krishna conscious? It's a very valid question which comes in our mind, because Arjuna did kill crores of soldiers in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Till now, we have heard that a Krishna conscious person can never be offensive to anyone. Then, was Arjuna not Krishna conscious? In answer to this, Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna has already explained to Arjuna in the chapter number 2, verse number 12. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha na chaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vayamatah param. Krishna tells to Arjun that Arjun, I, you, and all the kings who are present in the battlefield were in the past, are here in the present moment, and will continue to be in the future as well. Because none of us are material body. Rather, we are all spirit soul. And spirit soul is indestructible by any material elements. Srila Prabhupada explains very logically that Arjun was only superficially offensive because all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain ever. So spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present on the battlefield. Therefore, the conclusion is this, that Arjun, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada says that such a person is never entangled in the reactions of his work. I do not have proper words to express my gratitude towards Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. This world burdens us with more and more stress. And look at Krishna. Krishna is so gentle that he is removing all kinds of burden. Can anyone imagine that Arjun killed countless people on the battlefield, yet not entangled? The only reason is this, that he did everything by the orders of Krishna and to please Krishna. And Krishna had already explained to Arjun that each one of us are spirit soul and not the material body. And by this explanation, Arjun came out of his illusion that he is killing anybody. Now we must understand that each and everything that is taught to Arjun is actually meant for us. The main teaching in this verse is to become Krishna conscious and do Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga means not doing anything for our sense gratification, rather doing everything to please Krishna. And when a person becomes Nishkam Karma Yogi, then his mind and senses are automatically in control. And with controlled mind and senses, one can never be offensive to any living being, which is why he is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. He does not even step on any ant or kills a mosquito. This is how a Krishna conscious person lives in this material world. And such a person is always liberated. And while carrying out all his duties, he is never entangled in the reactions of his actions. This is truly called smart work. I bow down to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Harimohan Das Prabhuji, for explaining to us the most secretive knowledge of Bhagwat Gita as it is. I thank you for listening to the Bhagwat Gita verse so attentively and patiently. Reading Bhagwat Gita or listening to Bhagwat Gita means that we must apply it in our daily life and feel the blissful change. Please do write in the comment box what you have understood and how the teachings of Bhagavad Gita is helping you. In case you have any questions, then please do write. I shall surely try, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, to answer your questions. Now we shall meet with the verse number 8 in the next week. Till then, keep chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Hare Krishna.